Skateboarding video games have been around for decades, and they've played a huge role in shaping the culture and industry of skateboarding. Today, we're diving into 10 ways these video games have influenced the world of skateboarding, from pushing the sport into mainstream popularity to inspiring a new generation of skaters. Let's explore how virtual skateboarding has impacted the real thing. Let's get into it. 1. Mainstream exposure to skateboarding. This is huge. First off, these games brought skateboarding to a global audience. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater skyrocketed skateboarding into the mainstream. With its mix of challenging gameplay and licensed music, it introduced skateboarding to millions of people who may have never picked up a board before. Before the game, skateboarding was still considered niche to a certain extent, but after Tony Hawk's Pro Skater hit the shelves, skating was everywhere. From TV commercials to late night talk shows, kids who never would have been exposed to the sport now had an instant connection through the game. 2. A new generation of skateboarders are born. Skateboard video games inspired a whole new generation to pick up a skateboard. A kid who may have only played video games now saw real-world skateboarding as an extension of that fun and skill. Many pro skaters today, like Nyjah Huston and Lizzie Armanto, grew up playing these games before ever skating in real life. For many, video games were their gateway to the sport. Instead of just watching skateboarding, they could virtually experience it, get better, and then transition those skills to real life. And it wasn't just the pros who were influenced. Everyday kids everywhere were inspired to give it a shot. 3. Increased skateboard equipment sales. With the games bringing in new fans, there was a huge uptick in the sale of skateboards, gear, and accessories. Skateboarding brands saw an increase in sales as more and more kids asked their parents for a deck, trucks, and wheels to try out skating for themselves. The video games created a bridge between digital and physical skateboarding. This demand led to an explosion of new brands and product innovations, with skateboards now having game-inspired designs. And the best part? Skateboard brands capitalize on this momentum by creating limited edition gear, often featuring designs based on iconic video game boards. 4. Expanding skateboard culture beyond the streets. Skateboarding has always had a rebellious street culture, but video games help expand that culture to people who might have never felt connected to it before. For many, the games were an introduction to skateboarding culture, introducing players to the aesthetics, music, and the attitude of skateboarding. And it even took it a step further than that, because skateboarders have developed their own sort of language, and the tricks are very specifically named. So people who would have had any idea what skateboarders are talking about are now learning the language. They're learning the names of the tricks, they're learning the difference between a crooked grind and a front side nose grind. Whereas before, nobody would have had any idea what they're talking about. Because they played the game, they now understood. And this vastly helped to grow skateboarding, which is super, super important. The video games didn't just teach tricks, they helped teach the lifestyle. Skating was more than just a sport, it was an attitude, a way of thinking, and even a fashion statement. These games introduced an entirely new audience to skateboard culture, which in turn had an impact on how skating was perceived in the mainstream. 5. Virtually skating real-world skate parks. Skateboarding video games like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater allowed people to virtually skate in famous skate parks, and that led many to seek out visiting these real-world locations. In fact, we saw a rise in the number of people visiting actual skate parks inspired by the iconic virtual spots in the video games. Skateboarders were no longer just playing games, they were going out into the real world, attempting the same tricks and seeking out the locations they had explored virtually. And many skate parks saw this as a great opportunity to market themselves to gamers, offering experiences that mirrored what players saw in their favorite video games. 6. skateboarding brands in the video games. Skateboarding video games also gave brands massive visibility, from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater featuring real-world skate brands like Element and Santa Cruz, to new games showing off gear from companies like Plan B or Zero. It's clear that these games help boost brand recognition and collaboration. These partners were a game changer. With skate brands appearing in the games, their presence in pop culture skyrocketed. This marketing didn't just sell more decks, it positioned brands as key players in the broader cultural landscape, helping them stand out in a competitive market. 7. Pro skaters gaining recognition through the video games. Skateboard video games elevated pro skaters to rock star status. Tony Hawk, Rodney Mullen, and other skaters became household names thanks to Tony Hawk Pro Skater. This not only helped their personal brands, but also elevated the visibility of professional skateboarding the world over. These games didn't just feature famous skaters, they turned them into icons. As players spent hours mastering tricks in the game, they were simultaneously becoming familiar with the legends of skateboarding, which deepened their connection to the real sport. 8. Evolution of skateboarding style and tricks. Games pushed the limits of what could be done in the virtual world, and that had an impact on the real-world skateboarding scene. The over-the-top tricks in the video games gave skaters the idea to try new, creative moves that hadn't been attempted yet in real life. Number 9, skateboarding becomes a popular trend in pop culture. Skateboard video games played a pivotal role in skateboarding being featured in other parts of pop culture. Whether it was TV shows, movies, or music videos, the popularity of skateboarding was everywhere. And as skateboarding's mainstream presence grew, brands and artists began to embrace the culture more openly. The games not only influenced the skaters themselves, they had a profound effect on movies, music, and fashion, helping skateboarding become an even bigger cultural phenomenon. 10. Promoting skateboarding as a lifestyle. Finally, skateboard video games helped promote skateboarding as more than just a sport. It became a lifestyle. From fashion trends inspired by skateboarding to skateboarding's influence on music and art, the impact of these games extended far beyond the board. They cemented skateboarding as a cultural force that reached people from all walks of life. Skateboarding became a symbol of freedom and expression, and these games helped amplify that message. They weren't just selling a sport, they were selling an attitude, one that encouraged individuality, creativity, inclusion, and pushing the limits. So there you have it, 10 ways skateboard video games changed the skateboard industry. They've helped bring in new skateboarders into the fold, expanded the culture, and even influenced trends in skateboarding gear and style. Whether you're a hardcore skater or just a fan of the games, one thing is for sure. These virtual skateboarding worlds have had a lasting effect on the real one. I want to know your opinions in the comments below. Did skateboarding video games completely change the game for the better or the worse? Tell me everything. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content on skateboarding. And if you're just getting into skateboarding, check out our beginning skateboarding tutorials and the Braille Skateboarding Academy. We'll catch you in the next video.